I have no clue if this is working. Okay, well, in theory it should be, apparently. Oh, okay.
No clue if
My
this is
audio also
working.
seems to be working, so let's not get recursive stuff going on. As the title says, I've been trying to code for the past 1 hour. I just spent it all watching YouTube videos. So, woo, now we're streaming. Uh, I should have really prepared this before, but apparently not. So, yeah, sadly, I won't be doing game development today, as I was suddenly hit with the realization that, you know, we there's a month left until the contest, and I've got like nothing made. So these past few days I spent designing everything in Figma, setting up the web app. Also, excuse my computer absolutely dying right now. I've set up a fancy color palette and different screens for everything. None of this is actually implemented yet because right now, as you can see, I am working on the backend. And of course, a smart decision I made was to do it in Rust, a language I have never used before. And I haven't really made proper backends any time before either. So this is one interesting task I've taken upon myself, but due to some emails, I've managed to get myself a free copy of Zero to Production in Rust, which seems like a decent book, a decent read for setting up backends in Rust. And at the moment, I'm just kind of following through with it, applying it on my own project as I'm going. And I'll probably end up rewriting everything in the end, but hey, up until then, everything seems to be working. I think Docker is open, we've got everything fine. So now in theory, let me also insomnia. I have no clue if this is going to work. Right, and now in theory, if I were to run this, okay, it's running the tests. That's not God. This is quite the opposite of what I wanted it to do, but sure, I guess. The database doesn't even exist yet, so probably they're going to fail. Matter of fact, let's just terminate them and then stage. Of course, we're using all of the default values, so the password is password. And now if I actually do cargo run, I should be able, as soon as it builds, to go inside of Insomnia, send a request this 200. I just open up a terminal, I guess, and let me put over. That's the wrong screen. Okay, moving on. Now we're going to say psql dash h localhost user postgres. That's all I want. The password again, password. List our now list the tables. We'll connect to Inkwell, and then we select all from users. Add the semicolon, and as you can see, we've got what we've inserted using Insomnia. This is kind of where I left off. I just realized this won't work that well because I'm following along, so I won't be able to do any sort of live commentary as opposed to usually when I'm coding. So I'll still run into just as many bugs though, so I guess I can do that. But there are going to be weird things where I'll just shut up and read through this, and on second thought, I really shouldn't be doing that. Why do I have... Yes, it has been a week, exactly. That's why I'm streaming. I really want to turn this to private instead of public, but yeah. Moving on. Professional setup. I'm not even home, so I don't have my two monitors to also have chat open. That's... Yeah, sure, I can do this actually. This works fine for for all purposes. So, as far as I understand, we've got everything. I set up everything yesterday, all of the database migrations. Stop this from running. We've got a few known tests, like unknown tests. All checking for like basically if stuff if you can properly connect to the database, whatnot. The issue right now is unknown unknowns. Practice. It's practice, but I'm going to have to read. And I don't know. Plus, in theory, I assume this is licensed. Huh. Anyways, clearly that's not going to pose an issue. We have not blind. That is true. I am very blind. I don't... They're good, they make... Okay, yes, okay, I clicked on something. Okay, it was page 104. Okay, well, 124 in this case. Okay, perfect. Go back a bit. Oh, quite a lot actually. Quite a big lot. Oh. Known unknowns. Yes. Unknown unknowns. What happens if we lose connection to... I remember reading the documentation. It said this would happen, but I think that's besides the point. I did not... I considered this and I hoped it would be covered in the book, so I guess I'm glad. Oh, that is true. This is very true. Then, hey, highly entertaining. That is very true. Imagine stopping the server to debug. Yeah, please hold up. Your request will be processed as soon as I finish debugging this error. Interesting. I'll write that down. I don't think you'll be able to see that as I'm using a physical notebook at the moment. Trust me, I've written it down. Abilities above without any time what you wanted to ask. So might as well just ask everything. Actually, we need an observer. Okay, this all makes sense. So basically we're getting into the realm of logging, which I'm all too familiar with due to game dev. The amount of logging in game dev is terribly painful when working with complex-ish systems, so glad it's following me wherever I go. That is true, even. Okay, yes, yes, perfect. The log crate. Again, I'm assuming, are we log yet? Is that a thing? Log yet. Are we observable yet? Oh. Oh, it's from the exact... Okay, well I just kinda got outplayed. The web. And I could look here. Particular logging. So you've got localize the logging facade for us. Let's go to crates. Go to is log. Log provides 5 macros. Increase debugging for warn and error. Fair enough. The log record reach a different log level. Yes, I have used many logging. Okay. Scalable operation which returns a result. Either string or string. Okay, questionable. I think. I'm not certain. I mean, you still get whether it failed or succeeded and you get a message, so sure. Main match fallible operation. If it succeeded, log operations. Oh, because it returns the message for both. Fair. That makes sense. You're trying to perform an operation, it might fail if it's an info level. If it doesn't, we meet an error level. Perfect. Yep, because I'm assuming the implementation is the yak. Actix web. That is true. How do we do middlewares in Actix web? Actix middlewares. Perfect. Additional, yes. Recommend, yes. Apps, app in my case. Opposite order as registration. Service rate. Well, I won't be creating my own, but or I doubt I will be creating my own, but it's always worth looking into it. So he implement where S is the service. This rest is, oh, okay, wait, static lifetime. And then the new transform self-service, it returns and the JavaScript equivalent of a promise. That's how I'm thinking about it. Then it's ready, okay. Say hi middleware, and this say hi middleware is another struct, in which case it takes service over there, and here we get service from where exactly? Okay. I'm assuming it gets passed down automatically, so that's the type of the next service, and then the type of the responsibility. Okay. Say for then for say hi middleware, we've got a call. So here we implement service, and that's the transform. So this prepares it. Okay. Here in the call, hi from start, your request. Alternatively for simple wrap function, all ad hoc function. Okay, but more complex stuff will still go here. Logging, yes, exactly. Logging is implemented as a middleware. It is common to register a logging middleware. First bit of the application log. The logger middleware standard log information. The standard log create to log information. You should enable logger for active web package, the access log nvlogger or similar. Logger middleware. Okay. So nvlogger, I'm assuming that is quite another crate precisely. And then he wraps it. So this is how you add a okay. And the default login format info, the logger, the IP, the IP and the port, date, MS don't know what this is. Okay. Request where status quo. Okay. The person send remote IP. Oh right, so here we're going the remote IP address, sure. Then time followed by R, so the first line of the request. Okay. And what's confusing me is S. So that is the response code state. Okay, fair enough. After S we've got referrer. Request. Okay, I won't be looking at sessions now, so now that I've looked a bit into it myself, let's see. So ActiveWeb provides a logger middleware, and I clicked on it. Completely forgot the page I was on. 110. Well. Oh, I was actually there. A logger middleware is IO. Logger in Actix Web. Oh, so it's already there by default. And if I go in my cargo toml or Alex Actix Web. Oh, I've got all features. So should work, I assume. If we go to rs, I get the config and we say run, go to definition. Right, so now where should we add it? Should we add it before or after? It said in reverse order, so we should add it at the beginning. And if it's reverse order, I'm assuming I should also put the update there. So now, let's see, wrap. Why is GitHub Copilot on? Stop. I don't do GitHub Copilot. Logger D. Is there... So I'm assuming this just sets up and initializes a default logger. The logger middleware with format. Yes, it's exactly what we've been reading up until now over here. And we can change the format to whatever we like using this. So I am always free to do that in case I feel it would be necessary. Yeah, and this is the format. Okay. Now launch the application. Sure. That's how it's going to go. It should just compile and then at this, let's go Omnia. Let's do a get request to health check and remove this because I and mean, and then if we do a post, internal server error. Oh, right, because it's already there, if I'm not wrong. So, why though? That is not. Oh, right, I only set up the isolation for tests. So in this case, I'll just. Huh. Okay, I mean, the easiest. It's a bit easier. Throw. Save. And now if I do the request over here again, it should work fine. But this is something I'm printing myself. There aren't any logs anywhere. That is true. Why? If I go here, so format, yes, security. Eh. So I assume it doesn't know where to print it when we also need to specify the place. That instrument. Yes, there is a global decision. Ah, probably another term to look into. The facade. 200. Gives you the tools you need to emit log records, but it does not prescribe how. It provides a log state. Where, how, that, I go to log. I am a lack of it. Where I am not seeing this. Architects web log. Okay. I'm done. It's me. Oh, that's a lot of time. Okay. Right, so let's use logger as such. Calcopod.com 30 after 10 vlogger version 10 followed by real. And in the meantime, let's look at this. The environment variable. Various with a logging facade exposed by the log rate. Perfect. Despite having n in its name, cannot be writes logs to standard error, but can be configured to write them to standard out. So, and init binary is main. Let's log main, enable logging. circle. But in my case, do I really care about this? Isn't it already formatted by Actix? Okay, and logger prints timestamp level module path log message. Sure. It looks at the rest log environment variable to determine what logs should log equals debug cargo run, for example, where surface logs at debug log higher. Rest log 0 to prod will filter out or record by our dependencies. Interesting, but I do think it would be worth to have everything. So let's modify our main. I'm assuming as so the rest log. Oh, okay. I mean that makes sense. Straight up in main. Interesting. Logger. In my case, it will be. Actually, it's not returning anything, is it? And we will do environment logger. Oh wait. Builder new, or actually wait, what methods have? Default from env. I think we should do from env. Default environment, default filter, or info. And then what is this? If we do that, so that's just a builder. So then we will say dot build format. Well, init, I assume. Save everything this a bit, because even though my code editor is supposed to cut everything at 80, we've got inlay hints, and that should be what they've done. Yes, so now on this, Cargo will go ahead and compile everything. My computer really doesn't like it when Cargo compiles anything for some reason. I should also go ahead and and we've got logs. Now I'm particularly interested in health check. We've got get health check status code of 200 by Insomnia. This is the client version. That is very cool. And I assume if I were to go to sign up to a post, this is going to error out, right? And we get insert into SQLX query, and it's saying okay, so this is the command that got run. Now my question is, does that happen even if it succeeds? That and it sends the command. Okay, this is actually really interesting. Very cool. I should also get rid of my print line. Print line right. Well, we are doing stuff, so I can remove that. And that is working. I am not seeing that. Oh, I am actually seeing that, but not a lot of them. I've got right at the beginning, setting it. Oh, it appears it's fine. Log the instrumental handler for post. Okay. Did I miss something? Don't we already have this added? Oh wait, oh right, we have to log our own and not really rely on external libraries. That makes sense. So particularly right now, if I were to go in sign up, let's see, how would we get logger action here? Oh, we can just access it statically, I assume, based on the way that's done. So result await match result. If it's okay, I want to say log wait, did I not add log into cargo? I did not, we've only got n vlogger, so we'll also add log with the current version. We reload and we are going to say log. Okay, that was on the wrong line. Log info added user database followed by the actual thing, while over here we'll do the same thing and then say log error error adding saving database. I should also be doing stuff. So in my case, new subscribers details have been sent. Failed to execute query. That is what matter. We're using the debug format to capture the query error. Operators are the main audience of logs. We should extract as much information as possible. The raw view will have interesting. So he's not saving. In my case, I will particularly see add user. Does that? I'm pretty certain there was a way to do it in one. Does not matter. So added user. I'll just say UID display name mail. Actually UID and email. Fine. So here we'll say UID followed by JSON email. Because why not? And then error saving user to database debug. And then we are going to add we are actually going to take it and we will add error onto there. Is this going to give us an error? Not really. So everything should be working fine now, and if I would rerun, let's see how this is going to go. I will eventually get rid of those by going here and run this. We should have gotten error saving user to database. PG database errors. Duplicate key value violates unique constraint user's email key. Detail some key whatever already exists. Hint none, position on, that's lots of none. But the actual message is there. And now assuming I would this and then app, we should get the command followed by Inkwell API root signup added user UID woo itworks.com to database, and now just because I am mad. I will make this consistent by doing that. Perfect. Moving on to the next thing. What else should we capture? Previously we stated that we'll have sufficiently observable to enable us to deliver. Yes, nicely. In practice, we need to change the references. The authors put this. Okay. Put yourself in the shoe of one of your users, a person landing on. Okay, I tried to send newsletter using my main email address, but the website failed with a weird error. Any chance you could look into what happened? Best, Tom. Tom landed on our website and received a weird error when he pressed the submit button. I'm assuming that would be the data received from the form. Can we do it? Is Tom registered as a subscriber? Yes. Okay. What now? None of our logs include a subscriber email address, so we cannot search for it. Dead end. Fair enough. That is true. We could ask Tom to provide additional information. All of our log records have a timestamp. Maybe if it the time is a clear indication that our current logs are not good enough. Let's improve them. Okay, well this is technically similar, but in theory I assume I'd want to put up every like sign up param. But in my case, so he's just doing sign up params, not even the unique ID, and he's logging them regardless. It's enough. Okay, well, I mean, let me do that. Actually, would it be enough? We would definitely, you'd be able to tell when he tried doing stuff. That's already a start. Just saying. For the remit logs emitted by SQLX from the reported terminal. Okay, if we had every single copy of our web server and everything. We try to fulfill it, what we return. Wait, it's asynchronous. Is it no? Oh, it's non-blocking. And it would make sense for the server to be able to process multiple requests at the same time. But then, do we have any guarantee of what the output is? Because I don't think so. Log names and emails, if you are operating in Europe, they generally qualify as a personal. GDPR, yes. We should have tight controls around who can access it for speaking passwords you either. So effectively, for I am in Europe. Hold up, small parenthesis. Does GDPR allow me to log user emails? Built upon user interaction 4 years ago might have changed a ton. That is true. Well, let's say I'll be doing my best. Okay, well, this is important. This is definitely going down notes. So that we are 20. And one of the most important tricks I have right now, check out EPR logging. More particularly, we need the user to sign some why can't I speak? Some sort of agreement. Um, yeah, but this was I can easily do the last part, like technically. This is this is the equivalent of saying believe in yourself. Okay, well, moving on. Exactly. So my idea stands. Receiving, adding, and perfect. What details did we fail to save though? We need a way to correlate our logs to the same request. This is usually achieved using a correlation ID. Makes a lot of sense. So the process so it's generated at the end and then every log contains the request ID. Yes. That means that we will that is true. Again, the solution proposed does make sense. After all, I did just check out how to write my own middleware. And you know, how hard can it be to rewrite the entire logging middleware, which is already nicely provided by us, to us by Actix. So let's and see what's on. Probably not. Request ID included in all records. We have to rewrite all upstream components in the request processing pipeline. Yep. Signature. Yes. So it's painful. Exactly. Take a step. What does that call? Have an override. First input make a query. Request. And moment time. Logs are the wrong abstraction. What do you mean? Why am confused now? For I do not know. I would have assumed tracing and logging were not fully synonymous, but roughly there. So depends upon logging cell diagnosis by allowing libraries and applications to record structured events with additional information about temporality and causality. Unlike a log message, a span in tracing has a beginning and end, may be entered and exited by the flow of execution, and may be within a necessity of similar spans. So basically, it's context-based logging. That's what I'm getting. What does it take in practice? But okay, well, first of all, let's add the proper thing. So in here, I will say let request UID going to be UID I can spell new v4. We're going to put this at the start. Do I stop with keybinds for it? Currently I don't have any. So that's the request UID, and then whenever we add user, well, first of all we will say log info, and we are going to say request ID within brackets, request ID there, attempting to add user to data, add user, and over here we will specify email address. The email address is unique in our database, so I don't need anything else. I'll just go UID and email address. And now here we will say request UID followed by UID followed by JSON.email. So that's my first log. We will prefix this by saying request ID up, and might as well just copy this, go here, do everything, and then before error we are going to request ID. Am I so bad? I learned Vim keybinds, but then gave up on using Vim. Again, this feels like over 80 characters, but sure, Rust formatter, if you say so, I will trust you. Still, what happens if I manually? Okay, well, it works, so perfect. So now we've got proper logs, and now let's use tracing. So we'll go here, we'll say tracing. I am not certain what yanked means in this case. I am confused. We'll go for 137. We will reload this and wait for Clippy to upgrade everything. In the meantime, I will be pouring myself some water. And now that water is over, let's see. So, what does the tracing module do? Let's check the documentation. That's for log tracing fast. Yes, yes. For concepts, spans, events, and subscribers. We'll cover these in turn. Spans to record the flow of execution. For program tracing, is the concept of spans. Unlike a log that represents a moment in time, a span represents a period of time, as the name suggests. Okay. So we start a span, level trace my span, then enter. Return say, is this the C++ resource acquisition is initialization, or does it refer to something else? Because I am confused. I've heard the term, I technically know what it does. Oh, okay, yes, resource acquisition is initialization, perfect. This indicates that we are in the span for the current lexical scope. Reminds me of my OpenGL days. Perform some work in the context of my span, and then I assume when this drops. Exactly, I read this half a second ago and didn't register it in my brain. An event represents a moment in time. So it's basically a log in our previous thing, but within a span. Exactly. And subscribers, I assume when an event is called, the subscriber can do something. Okay. this makes sense too now that I think about it. And enter and exit. Both make sense. All three make sense in reality. Usage, well, we've added that. Am I in the latest version? I am in the latest version. AFK. It appears I have something to do. Very professional. Can I pause the stream? I think I can pause. Oh, that is the wrong screen. I think I should be able to pause it. I genuinely can't. Okay, we're stuck with the OBS screen in the... Yeah, be right back. What are emojis? How do they work and how does one use them without feeling overly cringe? And yes, we're still coding. What? It's been, what, half an hour at most? And oh, it's been an hour. It literally says the time. I'm blind. I hope my audio is fine. We've gone through all of this. Recording fields. Everything's set up. Well, here. Migrating from log to tracing. Exactly. Why feel? Why do we add this? I feel like I'm missing something. But okay, the first migration step is search and replace all occurrences of the log string in our function body with tracing. Okay, again, believe me, I've studied my Vim, it's just that I'm not in Vim right now. So my visual line selecting the entire file and then regex searching and replacing would have worked, but for now I think it's just going to be log and all of the logs. I don't even know, how do I replace regex? Okay, how do I replace stuff? Because there definitely is a way to replace. Select all occurrences, that works. Tracing. This looks like the wrong thing to import. Just tracing. This is the correct framework. Yep, it does look like it. So now if we run, we should maybe get something. Okay, it's compiling everything right. It needs to go through everything again. Makes sense. My computer's dying again. Always. And everything seems to be working fine. Let's check. I should really look into how to correctly use insomnia. Right, we have everything we need. Perfect. Amazing. What we still don't have the things we need though. So, based on my knowledge, we now need to set up spans and context somehow. Figuring the attributes. Moving on. Okay, identical, pretty cool. Not really, it's the same thing. This was three things log feature flag. I mean, okay, I'll just say to do might require turning on the log feature. Keep an eye out. Also, what stuff do we have in our git status? Because I feel like I am about to have to start committing stuff so that I always commit way too often. So tracing span, we can now leverage to better capture the structure of our program. We want to create a span that represents the whole HTTP request. Well, that makes sense, and according to my knowledge, it will be using the span thing. So that would mean in the sign up at the beginning of the function, we would want to say span bap with, oh no, I just received a certain WhatsApp message. This is the epitome of coding. God damn it. It would be very funny if my code editor just crashed halfway through. Happened twice. So level, we've got debug trace. In my case, I think I'm about to go with, I don't understand why there are two of them. For everything, I would gladly, why does nothing exist? Oh wait. Oh no, I must even up recording. I will. Yo, we've got it's multiplying by 2 now. I just need for the average view duration to somehow decrease to 16, which should happen soon enough, honestly. Very entertaining messages. How has it not been? Okay, interesting. Oh god. Yes. I can't. I would have had Discord or something on my second monitor, but now I can't do that for I am lacking a second monitor. The real thing is, why doesn't this work at all? Level, let's say trace HTTP request. I started this to stop procrastinating, and now I'm probably procrastinating more by speaking. But I mean, it's fine. At least I'm doing something. Ooh, 9/11. I take that back. That I did not mean it that way. Thank you, YouTube. Free download here. Have a day as well. Excellent connection. 1 hour. Hold on. 1 hour in, I'll definitely have to. I'll need to set up an AI chatbot and obviously code it myself, because that's what we do here. Request pen tracing. Huh? Oh, so instead of, did they change? Because I don't remember seeing that in the documentation, did I? Tracing. It is there. So if I do, first I'll follow along with this and then I'll convert it to my own. In theory, yes. It in theory I'm pretty certain it expands to the same thing. But sure. So we'll have an info span, and in my case that is going to adding, oh, so that also logs that it creates a new span, I think. Like otherwise, why would we say adding a new subscriber? Rex. In my case, let's move this. Why am I there? I just changed my Windows language and I didn't do that. Set up. Does this work? Okay, this is not working. Adding a, creating a new user, and now why are we doing this? I'm assuming this reference is a variable. So here we are going to press ID. As you can probably tell, I'm still learning Rust. The thing is, if I try to refactor this and rename request UID, rec UID, it doesn't seem to do stuff here, so I should look into that. That's the ID, my subscriber email and subscriber name. So I assume this creates things I can use everywhere effectively. Sub email will be json.email, and then sub name, yeah, sure, sub name will be json.displayName, something like this. It's it really doesn't want to properly format. Yep, it's not formatting macros at all, and I guess that makes sense because under the hood macros are creepy. Then using enter in an async function is a recipe for disaster. Bear with me for now, but don't do this at home. See the following section on instrumenting futures. To create a new span and attach some values to inquant. Request ID. Okay, we are not using string interpolation anymore. Tracing allows us to associate structured information to our spans as a collection of key value pairs. Great. We can explicitly name them, subscriber email or okay. Or use the variable name as the key. Yeah, makes sense. JavaScript objects. Why is that what comes to mind? Notice that we prefixed all of them with a percent symbol. We are telling tracing to use their display implementation for logging purposes. Oh, so that's not okay. I thought it was going to, it was some sort of macro referencing thing, but no. But we have explicitly stepped into it. Yeah, we've established that, and In my case, that would be let rec guard handle is going to be rec span dot enter, something like that. Exactly. Dropped at the end of subscribe. That's when we exit the span. Correct. Info span returns a newly created span. Yes. Enter returns an instance of entered a guard as long as the guard variable is not dropped or downstream. Yep, we've read that. This is a typical REST pattern often referred to as resource acquisition initialization. I got this right. My the Cherno OpenGL C++ days have paid off. The compiler keeps track of the lifetime of all variables. When they go out of scope, it inserts a call to their distractor, drop. The default implementation of the drop tree simply takes care of releasing the resources owned by that variable. We can though specify a custom drop. Yeah, sure, but I doubt I'll be doing that right now. This lifetimes, I still have to wrap my head around lifetimes. The log feature is racing. Let's give it a go immediately. Okay, let's give it a go because I'm afraid I'll get 50 crashes and exactly request UID because I renamed it and it's in a macro so it doesn't work. Right, okay. That should, I need to replace that too, and now. Okay. So that's only for the sign up, so we're gonna have to go into the sign up thingy. There's a post. We will get an error, but I could care less. Creating a new user. This is my span. Creating a new user, rec UID, sub email, yes. So this is when the span was created. Then the SQL query happens, followed by the request ID, attempting OK, error saving user to database, and then this happened. So it wasn't dropped. Is that, did it say? We just, if the log feature flag is enabled, adding a new subscriber. Okay, I don't have that, so I assume this is when we go into cargo.toml and we put this inside the version and we do this followed by features this. If I recall correctly, we reload our cargo.toml and we run, hoping that everything should work now. Somnia send creating a new user. I seem to be missing that. Features log. That is set up fine, I think. Tracing info span, adding a new subscriber. We set up everything and then we enter it straight after. In my case, for setting up a UID, we are entering the span. We get our handle. ID created that and then tracing. Oh, he does prefix it with something like this. Okay. But let's do trace over here, and because I'm assuming that is what broke, as it's trace is lesser than info. Okay, that is a ton of things. But now if I send, we should get a billion things. Okay, we do have that. Creating a new user and timer. A billion timers from the Actix dispatcher. I believe this is what the book was referencing. Eventually we should see something else, aka the SQLX query, the attempting to add user error, adding user, the span ends, and then the span ends. That's it. Okay. Adding a new user, the span is created. We enter the span, we execute the insert query, we exit the span, we finally close the span. Wait, what is the difference between exiting and closing a span? That is a good point. You can enter and exit times. Closing instead is final. It happens when the span itself is dropped. This can oh, because concurrency. Right. That is very, very cool. Instrumenting futures. Let's use our database query as an example. The extractor, the exec. I click. It was page 125. How do we make sure we don't mix the risk? There might have to put its future more than once. I really need to recap my futures. Don't make fun of me. I don't know my Rust. I'm learning it right now. I spent half of yesterday figuring out closures. Future. Right, I have a 2-page long list of topics I should consider looking at, and by consider I mean at 2 a.m. when I don't know what to do. I'll be browsing the Rust book because that is what we do. The executor might have to pull its future more than once to drive it to completion. While that future is idle, we are going to make progress on other futures. Mimic the future. Life cycle. Enter in an associated every time it is pulled by the executor and exit every time it gets parked. That is where instrument comes into the picture. What is instrument? Show me. Oh, okay. So, attaches spans to a future extension trait, allowing futures to be instrumented with a tracing span. Okay, current. I care about macros. Right, so span. This. What's the difference between this? This for the duration of this function. It or everything. I think it's basically the same thing, but I don't have to specify level info, so I might as well just use that. What's the difference between trace span and info span? Because that. So I am using info span if I recall correctly. Yes. While tracing info span. So constructs a span at the info level. Fields and attributes are set using the span macro. See the top level documentation for details. Okay. And then what about trace span? Construct a span at the trace level. Oh, I am dumb. I ignore that entirely. I have no clue what I'm doing. Implementing a future. Okay. Use our database queries. Right. And then there's the span as that's an argument every time self. The future is every time self. The future is poled. It exits the span and every time the future. You do not call enter on query span dot instrument takes care of it at the right moment in the query future lifetime. So effectively, instead of what I'm getting is instead of actually entering every time we run something that is asynchronous, we append the instrument to it. So SQLX query, and then before we execute, we say dot instrument followed by rex span. We might get an error apparently. Execute. First we attach. Oh, he executes and then. Oh, right. So before calling away, that makes sense because the instrument is from another freaking crate. It wouldn't. Of course, it's not gonna do anything. If our trade application trust log equals trace and try up. Whoa, that is actually really cool. Because, but for in my case, it's going to be a mess. So I might as well repair this. Go here, send. Aha. Okay. A ton of things just happened. So we are logging all the services. Tactics. We are creating a new user. This is the thing it happened. We enter it and then we exit it. We enter and exit. We enter and exit, enter and exit. It's been polled. We enter, it's been polled and now it actually runs. We do our SQL command. We exit and then we quit. And then we go forth with, you know, actually running the code. That's actually really cool. Cause that is nice. Okay, like that. Clearly see how many times. Exactly, tracing subscribers. We embarked in this migration from log tracing because we needed a better abstraction to instrument our code effectively. We wanted in particular to attach request ID to all logs associated to the same incoming HTTP request. That is true. So I promised tracing was going to look at those requests. Request ID is only printed on the very first log statement where we attach it explicitly to the span context. And we haven't completed our migration yet. I can tell we're only on 0.5. Then we moved on and insertion from tracing. We're still using nvlogger to process everything. That is true. Nvlogger implements logs log trait. Such a fun sentence. It knows nothing about the rich structure exposed by tracing span. Tracing's compatibility with log was great to get off the ground, but it is now time to replace nvlogger with a tracing native solution. Now this I am interested in, because I assume we're actually going to have to read the documentation now. The tracing rate follows the same facade pattern used by log. You can freely use its macros to instrument your code, but applications are in charge to spell out how the span telemetry data should be processed. Subscriber is the tracing counterpart of log. An implementation of the subscriber trait exposes a variety of methods. We have already read about this. Yes. Static new span, event, exit, enter, clone span. The quality of tracing documentation is breathtaking. I strongly invite you to have a look at yourself. Already did. But won't hurt to open it up again. Go to the latest version. This is a ton of methods. Okay. But required I see is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's still a ton. Tracing subscriber. Tracing does not provide any subscriber out of the box. We need to look into tracing subscriber, another crate maintained in 3 by the tracing project, to find a few basic subscribers to get off the ground. So we're still not making completely our own one, which I believe is kind of oof, but sure, I'll get into it later. So we're gonna remove that, and after tracing, we are going to add this. We're going to put here, and I'll remove these because I've never used them. So you've got tracing subscriber version. I will replace this with this. The features, registry and filter. I have no clue what any of these do. Tracing subscriber, can I look into it? Yes. Utilities for implementing and composing tracing subscriber. Yes. There's an application other a component of the tracing subscriber API is the layer trait. Provides a composable abstraction for building subscribers. Like the subscriber trait, the layer defines a particular behavior affecting trace data. Unlike subscribers, you implement a complete strategy for tracing. Layers provide a modular implementation of specific behaviors. Therefore, they can be composed together to form a subscriber which is capable of recording traces in a variety of ways. See the layer modules documentation for details on using layers. In addition, the filter defines an interface for filtering what spans and events are recorded by a particular layer. This allows different layers to handle separate subsets of the trace data emitted by a program. Per layer filtering later, because at the moment I am having issue figuring this normal out. Layer trait. The subscriber trait in tracing code represents a complete set of functionality. Single subscriber. So what I'm getting right now, the subscriber actually subscribes to stuff. It assigns IDs, everything works for it, while layers just observe us and they just go, oh, that's being called, okay, I'll do that. It doesn't actually interact with it in any way. Type I implement. So he creates a layer, he implements a layer of subscriber for his layer with whatever. Then his subscriber, we implement subscriber for the subscriber. Then we create a new subscriber with that layer, and then we set a global default subscriber to that subscriber. Makes sense. I kind of get what's going on. Multiple layers may be composed in the same manner. Yeah, expected. You just add multiple layers on top. Does it say anything about the order? Yes. Runtime configuration with layers. We can do that. That is very good because modularity. Ooh. The cornerstone of the layering approach is registry. Oh my god. Tracing subscriber registry. Shared reusable store for spans. Subscriber around which multiple layers implementing various behaviors may be added. Like other types implementing subscriber registry does not actually record traces itself. That it collects and stores span data that is exposed to any layers wrapping it. The lookup span tree. The registry is responsible for storing span metadata. I did this. Ah, thank you, docs. Very cool. Go to latest version. This one. Yep. Registry does not actually record. Yes, I just read that. Downstream layers can piggyback on registry functionality and focus on their purpose. Yes. Banyan. Tracing Banyan format. We'd like to put together a subscriber that has a feature parity with the good old and vlogger. We will get there by combining 3 layers. I clicked on something. We are using tracing Banyan formatter instead of the formatting layer provided by tracing subscriber because the latter does not implement metadata inheritance. It would therefore fail to meet our requirement. What is this? Currently, I've reached that point where I've done everything up until now. I feel like I have understood everything, but then now I'm not getting anything, and it feels like I'm just putting everything in a black box, which keeps on getting bigger and bigger, and I don't think I'd be able to do any of this if I were left alone right now. So, I think I might leave with the project in a not very compilable, but not very logically safe state. And then I'll come back when I feel a bit more experienced or ready for that. Sadly, that also means the end of the stream. I mean, fine with me. In the end, I managed to get stuff working. I did a few things, and yeah, I probably won't stream this again because I've already got the motivation and it's weird reading stuff out loud. But this was certainly an experience, and now I'll do the same thing as in a video because I've got no clue how to end this.